Hi, everyone. My name is Sean Nealon. I'm a Media Relations Manager at Oregon State University. Thanks for joining us today. We've got some really exciting news. I'm going to serve as the moderator of this press conference. I'm going to go through some sort of run a show, how we're going to structure this, and then we'll pivot right into the program. So, got a lot of people on this call. Some of them will be speaking, some of them will be here just for the question and answer portion. So, I'm going to sort of run through the run a show and then we'll get going. So we're going to start with Rob Stone, who's going to do sort of an introduction. Then we're going to pivot to the governor, and then we will bring in and then the governor is going to need to depart. So we're going to leave a few minutes for question and answer with her, and then we will pivot to the three university presidents all giving their remarks. And then finally, and then we're going to do some question and answer after that. And then we'll be joined later in the session by U.S. Senator Ron Wyden, whose schedule was just allowing him to join a little later. So we're going to accommodate that and get him in later in the call. So I know it's a lot of moving parts. I will keep us on track, keep us on time. We also have a bunch of partners, fast partners on the call as well, who are here to answer some questions if needed. So I will put everyone's names, titles in the chat. I'll also put in a few just sort of ground rules, how we're structuring things. But I think that's everything I want to cover. Just well, quickly for reporters, you'll be able to either put your questions in the Q&A function in the webinar, or if you wanted to be unmuted, raise your hand, and I can unmute you, and you can ask your question verbally as well. Also in the chat, I'll throw a few key links about with a link to the press release, a link to some of the different photo video assets we've got to go along with this story. So I'm going to stop there. I'm going to pass it over to Rob Stone, who is the interim CEO of FAST, also a professor of engineering at Oregon State University.
All right, thanks, Sean. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for making time to join us on such short notice. Sean said, I am Rob Stone, interim CEO of the Frontiers of the Advanced Semiconductor Technologies. We call it FAST. And this is today an exciting day for the state of Oregon. Today, the National Science Foundation announced the selection of the Frontiers of Advanced Semiconductor Technologies, or FAST, as one of the 12 regional innovation engines across the nation. This award really reflects the strength of Oregon's semiconductor ecosystem and 4 years of remarkable collaboration and coordination with partners across the state. I want to begin by thanking the National Science Foundation for its confidence in our vision. I also want to extend our thanks to Governor Kotek, Oregon's congressional delegation, and our state legislators for their support. And I want to thank our nearly 100 partners across Oregon, from industry, higher ed, K through 12, government, and the investor community, as well as community organizations and nonprofits. This award really belongs to all of them. The NSF selected FAST because Oregon has something special. We are uniquely positioned to connect research, talent, and industry in ways that help move breakthrough technologies from discovery to real-world impact. Here in the state, we have a strong and mature semiconductor ecosystem. Oregon has the most advanced semiconductor design and manufacturing capabilities in the US. In fact, there are only 3 places in the world that have such capabilities, one being Taiwan, Korea, and then, of course, here in Oregon and Hillsboro. We have a clear and impactful plan to build workforce development programs that industry says that it needs. And we have a desire to continue to grow the ecosystem through breakthrough research that supports existing companies and helping to develop new ones. But this announcement is really more about just technology. It's about people, and it's about creating opportunities for students, researchers, entrepreneurs, and workers across the region. It's also about strengthening workforce pathways, helping startups and small businesses grow, and ensuring that more Oregonians can participate in one of the world's most important industries. It's also about maintaining US leadership in a technology that powers nearly every aspect of our modern life, from AI and communications to energy systems and national security. Today marks the beginning of the next chapter for FAST. And we know that the future of semiconductors starts here in Oregon. Over the coming years, we'll continue bringing partners together, accelerating innovation, and expanding opportunity for Oregonians. We're grateful for the trust that's been placed in us at the federal level as well as the state level, and we're ready to get to work. Sean, back to you.
Thanks, Rob. I should have noted earlier, I will come back in and introduce each speaker in between. So let's pivot to Governor Kotek. And then, like I said earlier, immediately after Governor Kotek finishes her remarks, we'll open it up to some Q&A just to be cognizant of her time just for a few minutes after her remarks.
Thank you, Sean. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for being here. Days like today are why I am absolutely confident in Oregon's future. Oregon has always been at the heart of America's semiconductor industry. We are the Silicon Forest. We are the center of gravity for semiconductor manufacturing and research in the United States. And today, that legacy gets even stronger. Oregon and Oregon State University, as one of the lead institutions, is the home of Frontiers of Advanced Semiconductor Technology. It's an initiative known as FAST. It's a broad consortium that includes nearly 100 partners across the state. Today's announcement of $160 million over the next 10 years from the National Science Foundation will jumpstart the state's semiconductor ecosystem into the next century. I could not be more excited about this investment in FAST and what it represents. This is really about the power of collaboration. This is what's possible when higher education, technology companies, nonprofits, government, and investors come together around a shared vision. And when that happens, really extraordinary things will result. This investment matters because it will help bolster Oregon's advanced manufacturing ecosystem at a critical moment of its evolution. Our research and development tax credits support semiconductor innovation. Our world-class research universities fuel exploration and development. Whether it's legacy companies or startups to advance in this field, Oregon is a place where the industry has a home and a future. And I want to, do a shout out to Senator Ron Wyden, who will be speaking later. His work several years ago now on the Oregon Chips and Semiconductor Task Force, which resulted in Oregon
Okay, it sounds like we lost Governor Kotek. Give it a minute to see if we get her back.
Okay, I got knocked off, but I am back because we are flexible. So, as I was saying, Oregon is a global leader in advanced industries. And I had the pleasure of joining the NSF site visit back last December for FAST, and it was fantastic to be around the table with institutions, companies, research leaders, knowing that this is what we needed to do next to continue to have the high impact, high wage economic activity that we're all fighting for. And with these funds and the focus on workforce, we know we can get to that next level of achievement here. Look, the entire country, as well as Oregon, faces a lot of challenges. There's global competition, there's supply chain complexity, there's workforce demands, and the technology is constantly evolving. But Oregon has consistently demonstrated its resilience and ability to adapt and to lead in this sector. So I firmly believe that Oregon will shape the future of the semiconductor industry with our unmatched combination of technical expertise, manufacturing experience, world-class research institutions, and our commitment to sustainable innovation. We are positioned to lead this industry for decades to come. And I want to thank the National Science Foundation, all the FAST partners, congratulate them. This is a really exciting accomplishment for our state, and I'm very proud to be a governor where we are leading in this manufacturing and research and development. Thanks very much.
Well, thanks, Governor Kotek. So to reporters, we've got about 5 minutes with the governor before she needs to take off. So if anyone has questions, oh, I see a question from Coin. Let me unmute. Here we go. Okay.
All right,
And
can you
thank you
hear
for
me?
changing my background. I feel part of the team now. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Coin, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me in there?
Yes.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, Governor Joey Vacca with Coin 6. You're here to talk about the grant today, but a report did come out last month talking about the industry here at Oregon, which says the industry is now at risk of becoming insignificant and it's at a crossroads. So while we are talking about this grant, in a larger scale, how concerned are you about the state of the industry in Oregon? And is this grant that's up to $160 million enough to get that on the right track?
Well, I definitely think it's what we need to get on the right track. Remember that report that was put out was connected to this very effort around FAST. It was part of the due diligence and work that was being done to promote this initiative. And so it did point out where we have to have growth, where we have to fill in gaps. And with this award and our focus on workforce, which was one of our, was a weakness that we needed to strengthen, we are all going to be on path with this award. And it comes at a really opportune time. And I think it really reflects what we as a state know that we need to work on. And it is great to have the federal government saying, we support Oregon because on behalf of our national security and on behalf of the economy of our country, we have to continue to evolve and grow here in the Silicon Forest. And that's what this award is about.
Do any of the other panelists want to touch on that, this award and that report and put that in context?
I could jump in on that really quickly. That's okay. Yeah. Damon Runberg with Business Oregon. When we commissioned this report, Business Oregon alongside Oregon State University, as Governor Kotek alluded, it was very much an intentional choice to support the FAST initiative, identify areas where the state could be doing more, areas where the industry needed more support. We had a particular lens in this study towards the supply chain, as that was a real critical sort of nexus for Oregon. Intel has been a catalyst for this industry in the state, but trying to find opportunities for other sort of businesses along the supply chain to both support Intel and other potential semiconductor companies who could find Oregon their home base. Largely, the results were, we think really informative for advancing the industry here in Oregon. As the governor alluded to, many of the findings sort of pointed to things that FAST will likely address, in particular, identifying opportunities for small and mid-sized firms, as well as some of these sort of workforce challenges, opportunities to sort of develop a unified statewide talent engine there. The FAST won't address all of the challenges that were identified from this report, but many of them were sort of direct hits where we're going to see this investment by the federal government will really help push the industry forward.
And I think it shows strong leadership in Oregon that we understand our strengths, we're identifying weaknesses, we have plans, we are planning for ways to address that. And it is both this grant, it is the work that's happening out of the Prosperity Roadmap. It's a whole host of things that we understand as a state. If we're going to continue to grow and be a leader, you don't stand still, you continue to evolve, and that's what the FAST is about.
Skip.
Sure. Thanks, Rob. So just a few other points on the study. We wouldn't have gotten here with FAST without the support of Intel and its investments in the state over many decades, 50 years, and the supplier network, right? So most of the world's established semiconductor companies have some sort of operation, mostly focused on R&D here in the state. And so I just wanted to emphasize the existence of the large established companies is symbiotic to what we need to do to support the next generation of startups coming out of here. Those large established companies present go-to-market partners and supporters of the innovation that the startups will be focused on. And the two mutually reinforce one another. Moreover, the talent base that we have because of large established players like Intel enables us to take this next step in building on a really strong foundation that we already have in place.
Great. Thanks, everyone. I know, Governor, you've got time constraints. Do you want to take off, or we have one more time for one more question potentially for you? Or
I'm happy to take one more. And I'm just
got
well done, everyone. I'm very excited for all of you. You've all been working hard. This has been
if anyone's got one more question for the governor before she signs off, jump in. If not, we'll just pivot to the rest of the program.
Thanks.
I'm not seeing any hands, so let's do that. Thanks, Governor Kotek, for joining us. Okay, we are going to pivot to hearing from three university presidents, starting with OSU President Jyoti Murthy, president of the lead institution of FAST, and then we'll pivot to President Schultz and President Cudd. So, President Murthy.
Thank you, Sean. What a wonderful day. You may have heard me say this before. I like to compete and I like to win, and today is a big win. It's a big win for the state of Oregon, for Oregon State University, and for all our partners. I worked in industry and academia and pursued semiconductor research throughout my career. And I can tell you, awards like this are generational. Little else at the National Science Foundation comes close to this scale. And the NSF is entrusting all of us to make FAST transformational for our region over the next 10 years. While we celebrate today, the real work of making this happen is ahead. And I'm confident that we can do this together. Leading efforts like this, creating prosperity through discovery, is exactly what a modern land-grant university is supposed to be doing. Pursuit of an award like this is among the recommendations of a report that the Oregon Semiconductor Competitiveness Task Force completed 4 years ago. And not long after, OSU filed a letter of intent to compete for this award. Since then, FAST has grown to nearly 100 partners who are working together, creating new ideas, putting in an enormous proposal, working with our legislature, and finally, it's come to fruition with today's announcement. Big wins like this don't just happen by accident. I'm thankful for the support of Oregon's congressional delegation, including Senator Wyden, who will arrive here soon, as well as that of Governor Kotek and our state legislators. And I am grateful to core partners at the University of Oregon and Portland State, whom you'll hear from in just a moment. We knew our collective efforts made an impression with FAST during a site visit in December, when representatives of the three public research universities, along with Governor Kotek, State Senator Bruce Starr, and industry leaders, met with members of the NSF team. And together, we showcased just what we can accomplish with a common vision to share Oregon's prosperity. I'll finish by saying that I'm thrilled with this news, thankful to our partners across industry, education, and government, and excited for all of Oregon to experience this transformational effort. Thank you, and go Beavs!
Thank you, President Murthy. We are going to make a pivot to accommodate Senator Wyden right now, who joined us. His schedule's changed, so I apologize, Presidents Cudd and Schultz, but we're going to jump in with Senator Wyden, and then we'll pivot back to the other university presidents. So, Senator Wyden.
Thank you, and let me say thank you to all the professors and those who have been waiting. We're juggling a bunch of things now on the floor of the United States Senate. It's going to be a hectic few weeks, and I'll spare you the filibusters, but we're all so excited about this wonderful news. And it is always a good day when Oregon takes our deserved spot in the fast lane for national leadership in semiconductor innovation and manufacturing. And that's because Oregon has always been the beating heart of U.S. semiconductor production. So it is no wonder that Oregon State has earned this extraordinary honor to be one of just 12 new regional innovation engines that have a potential investment over the next decade of more than $160 million from the National Science Foundation. This is going to fuel research, jobs, and economic growth. And as the president just said, this didn't happen by osmosis. We didn't just kind of sit around and all of a sudden all this landed in our lap. It took teamwork, starting in Corvallis at Oregon State under President Murphy, and the governor's leadership and the whole congressional delegation has been pleased to be able to work hand in hand with the business community. I also want to say that I'm pleased to have been one of the leaders in the effort in the Senate during the Biden administration to pass the CHIPS Act, and we were able to do a bit of a very strong help with those investment tax credits that I wrote in the Finance Committee. The groundbreaking bill was written precisely for federal investment in programs like FAST. The fresh federal investment is going to spark growth in a semiconductor workforce that already has 30,000 Oregonians working in it. To put that number in perspective, it would be enough to fill Gill Coliseum in Corvallis 3 times over. These new jobs also pay very well. The average salary for these new jobs is about $180,000, more than twice Oregon's average. The new investment, in my view, is going to be a real shot in the arm for strengthening industry engagement as well in research and development and catalyze startups. Let me close by saying in government and legislation, you always look and see if you're coming in at an opportune time. And as President Murphy touched on, the reality is you couldn't get a better time because whether it's robotic vacuums, cars, artificial intelligence, or any number of uses and products, semiconductors are a linchpin of people's lives in the 21st century economy. So big thanks to all the wonderful people who are on my screen. I can see you all, and I want you to know I'm looking forward to working with you in person. I apologize for imposing and trying to come in when you have your program all arranged, and thank you for the chance to be with you. This is an exciting day for Beavers, as the president said, but everybody in our corner of the world that's very proud today because of the good news, and I'm thrilled to be with you. Thanks so much. To be continued.
Okay, thank you, Senator Wyden. Okay, we will go back to our regular schedule here. So again, thanks for holding on, Presidents Schultz and Kidd. We'll have next President Schultz, one of the partner institutions on this award.
Fantastic. It's just great to be here. So let me start by offering congratulations to our partners at the NSF, Oregon State, Portland State, and the entire FAST coalition. As others have said, this is a tremendous day for Oregon. The University of Oregon has the technical depth this moment demands. Our students can pursue Oregon's only undergraduate degree in material science and technology. We have state-of-the-art facilities at the Knight campus for accelerating scientific impact, including a clean room. And our campus core facilities house instruments like our Spectra TEM, the first of its kind in the Pacific Northwest, which gives researchers atomic scale imaging capability that supports semiconductor innovation and workforce training through our applied master's programs. We're proud to serve on FAST's leadership team, working alongside Oregon State and Intel on next generation metrology and imaging research to help keep American semiconductor manufacturing on the leading edge. And we're building the talent pipeline the industry needs through new AI-enabled data science programs, community college pathways, and internship partners with Intel and other semiconductor employers. Universities are engines of prosperity. Nearly every sector driving the 21st century economy traces back to research and talent developed on a campus. FAST is one of many examples of the benefits that occur for the state and the world as Oregon's universities continue to work together. We're grateful for this partnership and excited for what is to come.
Thank you, President Schultz. President Kidd?
Thank you, Sean. and thank you everyone who's here. I want to start with gratitude. Thank you to the National Science Foundation for this foundational investment and the confidence in Oregon that it demonstrates. Thank you to Oregon State University for leading this coalition and bringing together close to 100 statewide partners. Thank you to our elected leaders and the Oregon legislature whose sustained support for the semiconductor sector helped make this possible. This is truly a historic moment for Oregon, and I'm grateful to be part of it. Portland State brings two things to the FAST Coalition: research that advances the industry and a pipeline of people to staff it. Our faculty and graduate students are using artificial intelligence to speed up how chips are designed and to help develop the advanced materials inside them. We're expanding paid internships that place students directly into the Silicon Forest through our Discover Internships in Semiconductor Careers, or DISC program. As a minority serving institution, Portland State broadens access to these careers, drawing students from community colleges, other fields, and the region's high schools. We offer many doors into the industry and work hard to make them as easy for students to open as possible. What FAST means for students is that more of them will train on real equipment, work on real research, and step into the careers Oregon needs to fill. This is what a public research university is doing the work and making sure the benefits stay in our communities and our economy. This has been a priority for me as the president of Oregon's Urban Research University, and I know it's a mission that is a priority for my presidential colleagues on this call as well. FAST is an investment in Oregon talent, and Portland State is proud to help ensure that semiconductor literacy spans our universities and powers up our workforce. Oregon's semiconductor future depends on the people who build it, and together, through FAST, we're ready to build it here. Thank you.
Thanks, President Cutt, and thanks to all our speakers. So yeah, we are now at the point where we're just going to open this up to questions and answers. We've got about 15 minutes or so for this portion of the event. So yeah, reporters, if you've got questions, please type them into the Q&A. Raise your hand. We will call on you, and yeah, fire away. Okay, I see Coin again.
Yes, so thank you. Can you hear me still?
Yes.
Perfect. From reading the press release and listening to you all, I understand there's priorities for this investment, but I'm hoping that you can give a little more insight and specifics as to where this investment will go and how it will be used for these priorities. I have supporting a cycle for identifying innovations, realigning the ecosystem, creating career pathways. How in particular will this money help achieve those?
Rob, do you want to start with that?
Yeah, I'll start with that and then pitch it to my friends on the screen for some of it. It's a great question, and so the way this proposal or this award now works is like it's 15 million for the first 2 years, and that's really aligned along kind of those three prongs you mentioned. There will be a chunk of money that goes to workforce, and I'll ask Kyle Ritchie Knoll in a second to talk about some of those options. There's money that's really there to sort of support use-inspired research. So that's direct research with our industry partners, like you see on the screen from Intel and Analog Devices, and so on, and then in Tektronix as well. And that really is to sort of change how we as academic institutions work, where we are working now on problems that need immediate attention. So something that needs to have a solution in 6 months or 12 months, and not just the pie in the sky many years out work. And then the third prong of that is really around sort of supporting startups, supporting new businesses to come into the community. And so we'll do some work there to where we align sort of the needs of our existing ecosystem and find out where those gaps are so that we can help spin up some either some of that use-inspired research or invite some folks in from outside of the area to bring in a solution that turns into a company that can become part of that supplier network. So maybe first, I'll pitch it to Kyle and let you maybe say a little bit about how we're going to use those workforce development funds.
Sure. Thanks, Rob. I'm happy to do that. And I serve as the co-director of workforce for the FAST initiative. And I think as we look at that workforce and talent development, we already start from a very strong place in Oregon. And we've got the skilled, talented workforce. But this is really an opportunity, a generational opportunity to look at how we can and just supercharge that, if you will, and get more of those individuals into these positions. The companies have said there'll be about 2,500 new jobs over the next decade, and we know we need to get many more Oregonians skilled up and interested in the work. We want to make sure that they are aligned with the industry and prepared for the real jobs, so they're ready to step into that and just really strengthen that talent here in Oregon. So there will be, I believe, 16 partners who are going to be funded to help us do this work in the workforce and talent development, starting from early elementary and going all the way up to incumbent workers who we hope to upskill into new positions. To give you some examples of what that might look like, first of all, we want to build awareness. We want this, as I said, to sort of align with the needs of the industry, and we want many opportunities for advancement because we have huge opportunities from manufacturing positions up through the most advanced research and development. Couple of examples, in that awareness and those early stages, we'll be looking at fundamental STEM skills. This is really important that more young people know about and have the skills necessary. Be looking at awareness and taking industry folks into the classroom with Engineers Week and in Oregon Mesa. This summer, we're starting a chip-in K-12 externship program so that those educators can better understand the opportunities and then bring it to their students. We're looking at partnerships with OMSI, with the community colleges around dual credit, creating pathways. We want this to be, very clear pathways for young people, for adults, and for incumbent workers to understand how they'll be moving along. Just a couple other examples. Quick Start helps folks understand what the opportunities are in this industry, how they can become aware of it. We support them through that process. We created a program called Vets Up that retrains and sort of prepares veterans to be part of that. And we have industry partners who are in there leading this work, and then our community-based and nonprofit partners who are all around and help us doing this work.
Thanks, Kyle. And maybe Keith, Courtney, Jose, would you all like to speak a little bit to some of the use-inspired research collaborations that you see underway in some cases already?
Sure, I could begin. Thank you very much, Rob.
Yeah.
I want to begin with gratitude as well. I want to thank NSF. I want to thank the federal government for their investment in Oregon. And I, speaking for Tektronix and all of my colleagues, are excited to be a part of the future. We at Tektronix, we got about 88 decades worth of expertise in test and measurement, and you'd be hard pressed not to find our equipment in semiconductor manufacturing environments now. But today is about the future and looking forward to tomorrow and really being a part of use-inspired research that understands how we can use our equipment and integrate that with artificial intelligence at the data level as well as at the agentic level in order to interface with and provide our customers with the opportunity to integrate their workflows such that we could define what this next generation of advanced AI-enabled semiconductor manufacturing. That's kind of a broad statement, but it is a broad stroke really talking about there is a lot of opportunities for investigations, which I know some of my colleagues will comment on. I want to thank you for this opportunity, Rob.
Yeah, thanks, Keith. Courtney, and then I'll go to Jose. Courtney, anything you want to say from Intel's standpoint on use-inspired research?
Yeah, thanks, Rob. And I'll just build on, we're incredibly proud to be here in great company with these globally recognized universities, our state agencies, our trade associations, the other industry companies, large and small, that have all contributed to this world-class ecosystem that we have here in Oregon, as well as our community-based education partners. So thrilled to be part of this, excited for what's to come. And, you know, I know one area, Rob, we've been leaning in and very excited about specifically on the use-inspired research is around photoresist. And so I think there's very specific challenges that the use-inspired research can address, as well as some of the broader initiatives within semiconductors. And then I think building on that research, bringing folks on site. We're laser focused and with analog invested to increase bringing students on site this summer, giving them real world access and views into what the factory and the manufacturing floor actually looks like. And that was the most fun I'd had in months. So I know we will sign up for that one again. And it's just really exciting to see it kind of come to life for these students as well.
Awesome, thank you. And Jose, I know you will probably want to end whatever you say with some of the awareness building that Courtney just alluded to.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great day for the Pacific Northwest, specifically the Silicon Forest, right? Which we call home. Awesome legacy, awesome day, right? But it's just really the start of augmenting pilot programs that we've been funding for various sources for the last 3 years, right? So these funds will enable us to accelerate the outreach to the workforce development piece. Items such as a 2-week chip stamp. The analog device started with OSU a few years ago. This year, Intel, piped in with plenty of funds to scale it up. So we're looking forward to doing even more of those camps in the immediate future, right? And on the technology, right, translation to practice, there's a couple of items, right, that we need to keep in mind. The photoresist item that Courtney mentioned, right, that's actually applicable on all nodes, right? Not just bleeding edge nodes, right? Figure out ways of actually making the lithography photoresist more sustainable, right? PFAS lighter, PFAS less, right? Or PFAS free ideally, right? That's an opportunity across the segment, not just for leading edge. Okay? And other segments such as AI-enabled advanced process control. That's yet another theme that we gotta be leveraged hard on, because that also improves all the technology nodes, not just leading edge. So looking forward to some of the joint work that will actually, the tide that will lift all technology boats, if you will.
Excellent, thank you. And then I'll end it on that third prong as it relates to more translation to practice. I'll ask Skip to comment a bit about that.
Thanks, Rob. So Skip Newberry with the Technology Association of Oregon, and also serving as the co-director for partnerships with Tina Goldberg from the University of Oregon. And on the translation side, in the first couple of years, we're going to be really focused on a few different things. We'll be working to set up a semiconductor core, taking advantage of all of the more experienced semiconductor talent in the region to help mentor, advise, and potentially join some of the up-and-coming startups. And on that point, our goal is really to create, in the first couple of years, 20 fast-supported AI and semiconductor startups. We'll also be looking to organize a big think event, which essentially is the concept is we bring together some of the more established semiconductor companies that have established needs and uses of technology with startups and early stage teams, along with our university and academic partners. To essentially map out, what are the needs in the industry, and each of those needs represents critical opportunities for startups to go and develop solutions and scale. And then we'll be continuing to also map the supply chain and semiconductor ecosystem more broadly, looking for both gaps and other strengths that we might want to continue to build on or address. And then finally, access to capital is going to be huge to scaling these companies. And so we'll also be looking at leveraging some of the funds to focus on venture funding and other sources of capital for these companies to grow and scale.
All right, thanks, Skip. And I made it pretty much around the screen, but Stephanie, would you like to say a little bit about the K-12 sort of the critical piece that you're playing in sort of this FAST effort?
Absolutely. Thanks, Rob. Again, let me add my gratitude to the National Science Foundation and to all that have worked on this project. It is, I think, a huge opportunity for Oregon. My focus is on our younger learners in K-12. Oregon STEM sits in the leadership position to assist our 13 regional STEM hubs in their work, working with teachers, working with young people, and trying to build STEM identity in our youth. We're not saying that we should use FAST to encourage 10-year-olds that they need to work in the semiconductor industry. What we're thinking about is how do we help students see themselves as capable scientists, capable engineers, or capable in other industries that might support all of those things. We recognize that we need people in marketing and people in PR as well. But this particular effort will be around building science identity, building STEM identity, working on mathematics, both through teachers and through direct to student work. And I think there's a real opportunity here to really improve our students' success at all levels of education. And so how do we measure that? And what are we going to do about persistent problems? And all of those things are very high on my list and all the folks I will be working with.
Thank you. All right. So Sean and Cohen, hopefully that gives you some good words for your story.
Yeah, appreciate all that those comments, everyone. Are there any other questions from journalists? Please, again, raise your hand, type it into the Q&A. Okay. I'm not seeing anything. Is there anything else, Rob, that you want to add or close with that we haven't hit on or that you want to address?
I think we did a pretty good job, but just again, I want to say how important it has been throughout this process. We kind of started down this road back in 2023, I think, with sort of a development award. Our partners have been awesome through this, and this has been truly kind of an industry and organization-led approach to sort of listening to what the issues are and sort of coming together to craft a solution. And it's just been a joy to work with everyone here. And I appreciate all the great work and camaraderie that we've had over the years. And now we get to roll up our sleeves and actually do it. So great. Looking forward to it.
Great. Well, thanks, Rob, and thanks everyone for joining. Like I said, there's links in the chat with assets that we've got. Don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have any questions or want to set up any follow-up interviews. We've got lots of assets, photography, videography. We've got additional quotes from a lot of our partners as well that we're happy to share as well. So yeah, thanks again. And like I said, don't hesitate to reach out.